Hi, friends. Welcome to Getting Your Real Estate Life Together. I'm Tracy Hicks with All Things Real Estate. And today I'm talking to my friend Chandra Ashford. Hi, Chandra.
Hi.
Chandra's a Portland Realtor, but we're still Zooming. So, you know how it goes. But Chandra, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So this is Chandra's, I'll just say it now. This is your first podcast. So I'm gonna go easy on you.
Thank you. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yep. Neither do I, girl. So we're all good. All
Perfect.
right. So tell us about yourself and how long you've been realtoring and all the fun things about you and your doggies and your birds and all that kids, all that good stuff.
I'm Chandra Ashford. I've been realtoring since 2011. Well, 2009, I got into real estate as an assistant. And
Okay.
then I got my license in 2011 and went out on my own. So, yeah, basically, I've been doing it long enough that I've aged 40 years.
In the last month.
Seriously.
Yep.
And I started out as an assistant, and then I loved it so much that I had to do it my own way. Let's see. I went to film school, and I actually was really good at location scouting. So I felt like it was sort of a natural segue into real
Totally.
estate because that was kind of, uh, granted, it was all college students, but everybody kind of came to me for like, hey, where do you think we should film this? Or can you, talk to this funeral home and see if we can film in there? And somehow I would, schmooze them and get spaces that nobody else could get. So yeah, I sort of have done that in real estate as well.
That's so cool. Okay, I totally did not know that about you. And I think that is amazing because I feel like a lot of people that go into real estate kind of segue their previous careers, jobs, lives, or whatever into that. For me, it was kids. I worked with kids and I was like, oh, families and people. And, I love houses too. And so it totally makes sense that scouting, like you were already basically realtoring.
Yeah, I was on a different level for like a shorter term moment, but
Yeah, but enough to get you hooked.
enough to get me hooked. And
Yeah.
we moved here from California. When I graduated from college, I graduated from Cal State Monterey Bay, and the median home price in the Monterey Bay area at that time in 2003 was $650,000.
Which was a million back then.
Exactly. And so I was like, well, I'm never going to own a house here. So we moved to Portland and bought a house within the first year of living here. And that experience was okay.
Yeah.
It could
Yeah.
have gone better for sure. I think I learned a lot from my first realtor in what not to do.
Yep.
I was a bookkeeper for Buffalo Exchange downtown for a while. And it was really great. Actually, I love Buffalo Exchange. They're a great company in a lot of ways, but it just
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily my passion. And so when we sold my first house and bought my second house, the realtor that I worked with, I was a total pain in his ass. And I was his client for a year. So I was one of those.
Yeah.
And yeah, at the end of it, I was like, you should hire me to be your assistant.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And he did. So
That's hilarious.
yeah. So I started in 2009 at on a team at Keller Williams, and then by 2011 I was kind of like, yeah, I want to do this my way.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a lot of realtor. I started as an assistant as well, who's now my business partner with my company. But I think that it's just such a great way to get into the business. You learn, obviously all the scary things that if you were on your own. Now, I'm not saying that you can't just go be a realtor on your own, but it does make a lot more sense to assist somebody. But there's pitfalls to that as well, because then you're working on somebody else's business and not your own. So what was it that like got you to think, okay, you just felt ready, felt comfortable with the process, or you really just knew?
It was actually, so one of my jobs on that team was cold calling. Yeah. And I was actually pretty good at it. I mean, I like to talk to people, and
Yeah.
there was a particular couple that basically said, when you get licensed, we want to work with you.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, well, okay. I guess I should work on that then, because if these guys know that I'm a total newbie and they still trust me, because
Yeah.
they were moving here from California and retiring in the Portland area. And so, like they bought and sold a lot of real estate, and it gave me the confidence I needed to go out on my own. And so I had my first client right away, and they were awesome.
That's so cool. Do you still talk to them?
I do, yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, they're great. In fact, Jesse did my taxes for years afterwards. He retired completely, but like, yeah, I was still Facebook friends with them. I haven't seen them in a long time, but like, we were pretty chummy.
Yeah, yeah, that's so cool. I wish that I would have there's certain people that I wish I would have kept in touch with, but well, let's talk about that because do you have a how do you did you just keep in touch with them because of the relationship or do you have some sort of CRM or any kind of organized cuz I did not and I was really bad at it and I just nobody ever really told me to do it. So what do you use to keep track of those kinds of things and clients and all that good stuff?
So that's a really good question. And I'm going to be honest and say that initially I didn't have any sort of game plan for keeping in touch with people. It was only when I started working with Heather here at Think Real Estate, Heather Lambkins, my business partner, that we kind of got on like a schedule basically for keeping in touch with clients. But prior to that, it was just organic. I mean, I actually enjoy 99.9% of my clients enough to hang out with them outside of real estate. And
Yeah.
so we would just, get coffee or yeah, I got invited to baby showers and housewarming parties and, we'd go on walks. And so it was pretty organic, like initially that I just kept in touch with people because that's my nature.
Yeah.
And then Heather got us on a schedule where we kind of like, send out newsletters and we send out gifts and we make sure to like touch base with people because at this point in my career, it's not, it's not so easy to keep track of 400
Everyone.
friends.
Right. And also too, when you bring a partner in, you realize the things that you have to keep organized because you don't want to both be doing the same thing and you have to have some sort of system in place. So what do you guys do? Do you just use what do you use?
We actually just use like a Google spreadsheet for our mailing list essentially. And then
Yeah.
like I said, we have a schedule where we reach out to them in various ways throughout the year. And it kind of changes every year depending on like, last year we were supposed to have, we were going to do like a pretty cool party,
Right.
but we couldn't because pandemics and all.
Yeah.
So that sort of changed things up a little bit. And we, yeah, did things a little bit differently last year than we would have normally done them. But
Right.
yeah, we usually try to do like one big party a year where we invite people. And then we're doing a clothing exchange yearly, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we can't do that either.
Are you going to bring that stuff back, do you think? I haven't even thought about that. Like, I hope that realtors don't like poop out and be like, not do the stuff that they used to do that was working.
I think we're going to bring it back. I mean, I've had clients reach out to me and literally be like, oh my gosh, I really miss the clothing exchange. And so when we can and when we're vaccinated and when it feels safe, like, yeah, I think we're all going to want to do that stuff
Ready.
again. I
Yeah.
mean, I hope.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, a lot of my relationships are like organically, like I really like the people I work with and I'm super lucky in that regard. So hanging out with them is a pleasure for me. And I hope that we can like get back to that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's back up because you went from assistant to realtor and then Heather just joined the picture. So at what point you working on your own, did you bring on a partner and kind of how did that evolve or happen?
Okay, so I was on my own for a few years, and I actually, before Heather, had a different business partner this gal, Laura McGuire, who was a friend and she wanted to get into real estate. Her mom was a realtor. And so I brought her on as my assistant. And then she transitioned into a business partner after about a year of working together.
Oh, wow.
She was awesome. I loved working with her. It's really nice to collaborate with people.
Yeah.
It's really nice to be able to download like all of the bonkersness that is real estate and have somebody understand and relate. Cause like my husband could care less about hearing about another transaction and my
Exactly.
pitfalls with it.
Yeah.
So having that partnership was really nice. And Laura was awesome. She was such a good realtor and like did astoundingly her first 2 years in business, but she actually hated real estate. Like she really didn't enjoy it at all. It was really stressful for her. She was really good because she really cared deeply about her clients, but that just took such a toll on her that after the second year, she was like, Chandra, this isn't for me. I have to like, we want to do something that's like better for my stress levels. So we were at that point in time sort of talking about moving companies, and Heather and I had worked together on a bunch of deals. And Heather approached me and was like, hey, I hear that you are looking for somebody to kind of replace Laura as a partner. And so we just talked a lot about like what that would look like for both of us. And ultimately, because we had worked together on a lot of transactions and like randomly have friends in common from like college.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we decided that it would be a good fit. And that was, I think, 5 years ago. And it's been a great fit.
That's so cool. So I have to say that it's so true that if you don't, I mean, I haven't really talked to anybody that has admitted to not liking real estate, but how true is that, that you really have to love this job? Because I tell people all the time, it's one of the hardest jobs to do. It's not an easy job. People think that you're just running around, showing houses, looking at pretty things and collecting checks. And I think that as a realtor community, we do need to do better on showing people what it is that we do and not just the, sold over asking and all the fun stuff, but actually educating them on, how home inspections work and loans and things like that. And I think that that's something that's like all of our responsibility as realtors, as a community, because we want our community to be better for the general public. And the only way to do that is for all of us to come together and do that. So you and I talked about this a little bit prior. I always ask everybody kind of what are the main things you want to touch on? And you put HUD 184 loans. And I was like, what is that? I had never heard of it. And so I want you to talk about that a little bit. Well, here, let's just explain it. And then I have some questions.
Well, I hope that I can answer them. I'm doing just my third HUD 184 loan in my career. And basically it's a HUD loan for Native Americans to get in home ownership. It's sort of like it's structured like a VA loan. So you could do zero down and you don't have to meet the credit scores of traditional conventional lending, but it is specifically for Native Americans to be homeowners. And because I believe that we are all on stolen land, I'm like all for this loan product. And
Right.
I want to get the word out there that this exists because I don't think most people know about it.
I had never heard of it.
Yeah. So if you have anybody in your life that is Native American, they qualify. And I think that they should be looking into this because we definitely need more diversity in homeownership.
Yeah. Yeah. So do most lenders know about it, or is it a specialty? People need to seek out somebody that does them, or
My understanding is that yeah, there is some people that specialize in it. I think everybody knows, all lenders know about it, but not all of them are adept at going through the process. So,
yeah.
yeah, I know that there's a couple of people around town that also really enjoy doing them. And so I think that making sure that you're connected with the right lender is probably key on it. Just like some lenders are better at VA loans than
Yeah.
others. Like I think it's the same thing for a HUD 184.
Okay. So speaking of that, I know that I haven't been active in a while, but I know that, VA loans, they kind of get that
Yeah.
that cringe where it's like, oh, appraisals, or oh, it's a VA, and especially in a hot market. How does that come up again? Is it the same kind of process like with appraisals and stuff, or is it different, harder, easier, no different?
It's a little bit more close to an FHA appraisal as I understand it. So it's not as gnarly as a VA loan. And
Okay.
also it makes me sad that VA loans are like I, there's these products that are developed for people that need help getting into
Yes.
housing, and the fact that there is aspects about them that makes people not want to accept them during the real estate transaction really bums me out
It
because they
totally yeah. No, I always felt that way. I didn't have a ton of VA buyers, but when I did, one of them was during one of the high times and, multiple offers, and they were just getting crushed left and right, and I'm like, and I don't know much about military. I wasn't a military kid. I didn't have anybody in my family in military, but I knew this family and I was just like crushed for them. It was just like, and people would, it was just a stigma and people would ask more questions. And I'm like, it's no different than a regular loan. Like, don't
yeah,
do that.
yeah. Well, and it used to be with VA loans at least that there was like some fees associated for the seller, and that's not even the case anymore. And I think
Yep.
there's some realtors that still think that there is, or
Yeah.
and then yeah, the VA appraisers are notoriously crabby.
Yeah. Yeah. And these are the kinds of things that I wish we talked more about rather than just, ragging on each other or whatever. I think that, these types of conversations need to take place more because it's not, you don't have to be combative. It's just like, let's all just come together to try to make this better because that's all it takes sometimes is for everybody to just kind of get on the same page and like eradicate the fear and the unknown. I think it's really important that we do that. So your realtor community, I know you have a, like most realtors, just like you said earlier, even with your partner, but having a small group of people that you can vent to and that you can talk to that you can't say out loud and to certain people or on social media. How have and you're a very organic person in your social media, and I want to talk about that too, and being your authentic self. But how did kind of building up your realtor community, like talk to me just really quickly about that and how important it is to you and kind of, what you do to nurture that and make sure that, you're okay and that other people are okay too.
Yeah, I just got lucky and met some really great people in real estate. I through both like working transactions or social media and having that community. I mean, there's a group text between me and a couple of realtor friends where we're just like venting our frustrations.
Yep.
And without that ability to vent our frustrations or celebrate the positives,
Yeah.
I just don't know how I would do this job because there's so much that I think of myself as like a buffer for my clients, right? Like I'm their agent and I want to make this as stress free as possible.
Yeah.
And so I'm like a sham wow rag and I'm trying to take all their stress and then, but like I need some help to expel that. And
Yeah.
having that realtor community has been super key. And yeah, it was just, when I moved companies, I've moved companies 3 times now. And each time I just kind of like met people at each place that for whatever reason our vibes really resonated with one another.
Yep. Yep.
And yeah, I feel like I have some really good real estate besties.
Yeah, yeah. And social media, well, let's just talk about that because you're really good with your social media and being, your authentic self as everybody's telling everybody to do right now. But there's a lot of people, it's crazy because there's a lot of people that are just naturally like that. And, people can be that. But there's a lot of people that have to learn that aspect in whether it's social media or just in their marketing in their business. And 9 times out of 10, you're always going to be better. Well, 10 times out of 10, you're always going to be better off being who you are rather than trying to be somebody else. Cause that's going to sure fail. And then it's not about the failure. It's about how you handle it. And if you weren't being it's just going to turn into a mess. So just be you. And you're really good at that on social media,
Thank you.
and And I think people gravitate to that. So I know that that's kind of been a journey for you too. And you've seen the growth in your social media. How much of that is a part of your business, and kind of what is your strategy around that? If there is any, that's a strategy too, not having one.
Yeah, honestly, that's my strategy. To be fair, I did fail initially at being authentic. And I think that that was a huge learning lesson for me. I have this funny story about I have a bumper sticker that says, "My other right is your mom." And of course, I took it off my car when I became a realtor because I was like, that's not professional at all. And I tried to like kind of cover my tattoos and be what I thought I should be as a realtor. And nothing really happened in particular that made me realize that I was failing, but I also wasn't like getting the kind of clients or the relationships built that I wanted to. And I realized it was because I wasn't really being me. And so I decided, I'm just going to put myself out there exactly how I am. And I'm putting my sticker back on because most people laugh at that sticker.
And those are your people.
And they're my people, it's a
Yes.
good litmus test. Like, if you laugh at my dumb bumper sticker, then, like, of course, we're going to get along swimmingly.
Right.
So, yeah, I put my bumper sticker back on and I just let my freak flag fly. And it has been so much better for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I always like to, I don't know how long ago this was, but there was a guy he was a swinger, and that neighborhood, there were probably a few others in that area, but he became the swinger realtor and used that in his marketing. And, some people get, you know, appalled, or, back then a little more than now. But he was like, this is who I am. These are my people. And I want to be their realtor. And then it was so funny though, because it's not something you see it's not very common, but how fun to stand out like that, and you're working with people. I say this probably every day. You want to work with the people that you like and that are like you, so you don't have to fire them in the end. Okay, so your social media, Instagram is your jam.
Instagram is my jam. Yeah.
So what do you do on Instagram? What do you post? How do you decide what you're posting? Do you just willy-nilly? How do you do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as I was saying to you, my daughter called me organized chaos. And I think that that best explains me in life in general. I mean, once again, I'm just trying to be my authentic self. And like, if I think a house is cute, I'm going to post that. If I see something weird while showing houses, I'm going to post that. I'm going to post my furry baby dogs because they're adorable.
Yep.
It's mostly just stuff that I like. And what's rad about that is that I found that like the people that follow me and they see that, they know exactly what they're getting when they contact me.
Yeah.
So it's the best way to lead generate that isn't like Zillow, or because people they know exactly who I am and what they're
What
getting.
they're getting. Yeah.
And I don't hold back as far as like my politics are concerned, because I also, the truth is that I don't necessarily want to work with people where we don't align morally speaking. I think that would be a really hard relationship to have. And
Oh
so
yeah.
I'm sort of vetting them in the same sense that they're vetting me. And so once again, 99.9% of my clients are awesome and we get along so well. And I think Instagram and referrals are the only two ways that I get clients.
Yeah. Yep. And it drives me crazy. And we do it all the time, where it's like, if a realtor posts something that another realtor doesn't agree with, they're like, you're alienating a clientele. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're sifting them out.
Yeah,
It's like a
totally.
little flour sifter. Like,
Exactly.
right. And so I think that, and also to each their own. And now there is a fine line, obviously, with industry stuff, because again, going back to, we're all kind of responsible for each other and being careful about that. And also too, being careful about talking about other realtors, because what's going to happen. You're going to end up having to write an offer on one of their listings for your buyer that this is their dream house, so you really have to be careful about that. And building those relationship with other realtors, and that co-op partnership is really important, especially in certain markets. And I think even with your social media, I'm sure you have realtors following you that keep up with you, that feel like they know you too. And
Uh-huh.
so, if you're one of 5 offers and they feel that recognition, it's the same as like with a client. They feel like they already know you, they know what they're, getting into. And so you do have to somewhat be careful in how because everybody's a freaking gnat and their attention span is like nothing. So it's,
That's real. Yeah.
they see what they see. And so it is a fine balance. And I think that people really do need to be careful about their social media and making sure that what you're putting out there is really what you want to put out there. Because sometimes you'll post something and you'll be like, how is that going to come off to the people that I want it to, things like that. So
Yeah.
how much of your Instagram is like personal and houses, and how do you kind of balance that out, or do you?
I would say that my actual feed, like my feed is pretty much real estate related. Like it's mostly houses or like my clients getting keys. That was something that I started doing like when Instagram first started.
Yeah.
And I think I have all but like 2 or 3 of my clients getting keys on there.
Oh,
So, it's pretty professional. And then in my stories, I get a little more like political.
okay.
And that way it's somebody's choice. Like they can follow me and my stuff can come up in their feed and it doesn't necessarily have to be in their face because you have a little bit more of a choice with stories than the way the algorithm works for your feed.
Yeah.
But once again, I mean, I never want to alienate anybody, and I definitely always want to have a conversation. And
Yes.
I'm totally open to growth and change and learning new things. And I think it's been interesting because even when I post stuff on stories, I'll have like a client be like, "Oh, hey, I don't know if you know this, but like X, Y, and Z about that." And so I think we're all, or we should all be learning from social media, and we should all be having those kinds of conversations. And I would hope that any realtors that have any problem with anything that I'm posting or like don't agree would maybe start that conversation so that we could learn from one another.
Yeah.
Because I think, like you said, like this is a community, and the only way that we change is by working together for that change. And yeah, so I'm constantly trying to interact with people in a positive way and be open to learning new things for
Yeah.
sure. And I'm hoping that other people are open to that too.
Yeah. Do you have 2 Instagrams, one for personal and one for business?
I have like 4 Instagrams. um, I don't have a fake Insta yet, but I do have a personal one, and then I have 3 business ones. I have the Portland House Hunter that I've had for like 10 years or something, maybe even longer. I don't know. How old am I? Um, and then I have Heather and I have PDX House Geeks, and then Erica, who is my new showing agent and a really phenomenal agent. She and I are collaborating on the Portland House Hunters now. So
Okay.
we all we have different stuff because like Heather and I collaborate, and then Erica and I collaborate, and then I have my own.
Yeah.
And my personal totally gets just like my personal life totally gets left behind.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Just like a realtor.
Exactly.
So how do you juggle all of them? Do you feel overwhelmed with it, or is it naturally just kind of working out?
For the most part, it works out. Every once in a while, I'll look and be like, "Oh, I haven't posted anything on there in a minute." But at the same time, like I don't want to do it to market per se. Like I
Yeah.
only want to do it if it seems fun.
Yeah.
And so I try to not let myself get bogged down in the I should be doing this
Yes.
situation because I think
Yes.
that comes across in the post too, you know?
Yep. Yeah. Cause then you're just putting something on there that you don't really care about. And it's like,
Yeah.
and then you don't engage with it. And then what's the freaking point?
Yeah, exactly. What is
Okay. So speaking of, you were on Tiny House Hunter.
Oh yeah. I was on Tiny House Center.
When
Yeah.
was that? And tell me about it. Like, is that still a show?
I don't know, honestly. I watched 2 whole episodes, including the one that I was on. So I'm not sure. It was hilarious, basically. And it was 7 years ago.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
Yeah. And, for you don't actually need a realtor for tiny houses. So starting off, like, that's just false. But also it was really funny because I think they called somebody else in my office and she was like, no, I don't want to do TV. And so then they went on the website and they saw me and they call and they were like, oh my God, you're so Portland. And I was like, AKA I
Thanks.
have tattoos.
Right.
Cool, thanks.
Yep.
And they're like, we want you for this show so bad. Can you, be a realtor? And I was like, oh, that sounds kind of funny. Yeah, I'll do that. And a week before I was supposed to be on or like film for the show, they called me and they were like, "We love you. Your look is great. However, HGTV is very conservative, and they really don't like all your tattoos.
What?
So can you cover them?" And I was like, "I mean, I have hand tattoos, you know." And I'm all, am I supposed to wear gloves? Am I Madonna in the 80s? Like, what do you want me to do
They're all,
here?
yeah.
And they're like, well, just as best as you can. So, of course, I paid no attention to that and I just wore whatever I wanted to wear.
Right.
But I did notice that there is zero
Hand
cut
shots.
of my hands. So, but the cooler thing about that was that the snippet from my tiny house hunters was on Ellen, and she made fun of my client on there, which was pretty great. That was actually my favorite part.
Oh my gosh, that is so awesome. Okay, did you use any of that in like your marketing or okay,
So
you have to do like a throwback or something and like bring that back up.
I'm so bad. I don't even know where the episode is or how to find it.
Oh,
Like,
you'll find it. Just Google it, girl. I'm gonna find it after we podcast.
cool. Let
That
me
is
know.
so
Send me that link.
right, exactly. That is so funny because I want to say that there's a few realtors in Portland that have done
Yeah.
house hunting or house hunter shows or whatever. And it seems like, yeah, that happens here often. I
Yeah.
haven't, obviously not lately because nothing's been happening lately, but okay. So I want to talk about, I love hearing realtors exit plans and strategies because usually they don't have one. And this sounds terrible every time I say it, but I am constantly like, realtors don't retire, they die. Like
Yeah.
they just are realtoring until the end. And so I love hearing, what people want to do because you can't do this forever. Like, and as easy as it is to be like wants to sell their house and they're your friends or whatever, but what is you have a plan and I want to hear about your exit strategy out of real estate and kind of what you want to do.
Well, I don't know that I have a solid plan for exiting per
You
se.
have an idea, you have a thought, you think about it.
I think about it. I want to retire tomorrow some days. I mean, I'm actually starting to kind of work on that realistically. Like Erica on my team she's young. And then I just hired somebody else who's also pretty young. And I'm kind of thinking like it might be nice to get them started and
Yeah.
continue on in the vein that I've been working on. And then I can ease out and I can live my dream life, which is that I want to have like 30 acres and 300 dogs and a bunch of llamas. And like, I want to do some sort of animal rescue. Like, that's actually what would make my heart happy.
Yeah. Yeah. And real estate's going to make that happen for you, girl. It
I
just
mean,
is.
I hope
Obviously,
so.
in two ways, obviously the money part and being able to pay for it, but you're out there looking at stuff like how fun to be able to dream about that and also, collect intel on
Yeah.
like, ooh, I get to show this farm. I know what to look for and kind of what the clients are looking, you're just going to learn along the way. And I hope that you do actively like work on that at least, a couple times a year where you can be, just actively writing down ideas for it. I don't know if you're journaling or whatever you're doing, but you need to
Once
be
again,
writing that stuff.
organized chaos. So no.
Well, you need to start writing stuff down somewhere. Also, just because it'll be so cool to look back on your journey and kind of where you started thinking about it or like look at the crazy ideas that you had. And then you're like, wait, maybe that's not so crazy. And I can actually do that. Or, because that's when you really are dreaming is when you want to
Yeah.
get to that point. And so you're thinking a little bit differently about it than when you're actually in it
Yeah.
and it's a business and you're in the day to day. So you don't, I can totally see you making this happen. So do we have
I
a name for it?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not yet. But I mean, I did actually buy a little farmhouse this year that has an acre. So we're
You're working your
starting
way.
the slow burn to like it has a rad chicken coop, but I'm like, well, we could start with like rescue chickens or something, like
Yes.
get a couple more dogs. Although my husband is the one that takes care of all the animals, and he's like, oh my God, you can't do this to me. Because we already
Stop.
have a mini farm. So
Well, you just you have a foundation to the business in your retirement
exactly.
plan. Okay, so, kind of in wrapping up a little bit. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. Facebook.
Mm.
Like, are you on it? Are you active? Are you I mean, like, I just feel like a lot of realtors are late to that party and it's kind of over. I don't know. What are you on there? Are you posting? Like, what is your relationship with Facebook?
What is my relationship with Facebook? Well, I hate Mark Zuckerberg. I don't know. You might have to edit that out, but I am on there, but I'm on there like mostly to talk to people from high school that I haven't seen in 30 years, and
Yep.
my mom and my mother-in-law. Like, it's not. I don't find it to be a place for real estate per se.
Yeah.
I have a Facebook page for real estate, but
Yeah.
like it's just my Instagram feed going to that because it's not my passion. And
Right.
again, I don't think that you should do it if it isn't genuine. And since I don't like genuinely love it, I'm not actively like it's a placeholder basically. So if somebody Googles my name, they can get my information
See
off
it.
Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that they really screwed up with the business pages. They made it so difficult for everybody. It didn't get any attention. It was so hard to get people to see your posts, and what was happening was, realtors were well, they were being told they had to have business pages. And so obviously everybody created them and did exactly that. It's like a parking lot.
Yeah.
And so, but to separate their personal business, but the business pages weren't getting any attention. People never saw your post. It's probably still that way.
Yeah.
So I know that that's a frustrating part. And really, it's almost like you just have to have it because of exactly what you said. People are going to Google it and they expect you to have it. So, it has to have at least some stuff. But I like that you're feeding your Instagram into that because it's keeping it active. And if somebody goes to it, it's not like it's crickets where they think that you're out of business.
Right. Exactly. And yeah, that's the thing, is that I don't want to not have it just in case, but
Yeah.
I don't love it. And like, you can't even tag people. You can tag other businesses or like
Yes.
celebrities, but you can't tag somebody,
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
so stupid. Like,
Stupid.
what is that kind of like? I'm trying to engage with people and I can't even say, hey,
Take a
so and
client.
so, look at this house. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. No, it's silly. I mean, same thing. We just use it because you have to engage with people and it, they didn't do a great job rolling that out or even keeping up with it or doing anything to make it better.
Nope, none of those
I think
things.
it's literally the same thing that it was.
Yeah.
What about video? What are you doing with video right now? Or are you?
I'm not, but I should probably work on that a little bit. I jokingly said that I should have started doing video before my 40s because every year into my 40s, I'm like, no. But I am trying to get on board with it. Yeah, I don't do anything with it right now, though.
I know. It is hard. It's one of those things that you may never really get used to. I think most like speakers when they go on stage, they have stage fright before they go on, or I still get nervous before I do a podcast, until it gets going and then I'm like, okay, I feel better now. But I think that video is really tough, but I think you can figure out a way to make it work for you where maybe you're not in front of it the whole time. Or, I'm seeing a lot of, especially in your office, they're using Gary at AE Imaging.
Yeah, AE imaging. Yeah,
And he does really great. I love the videos that he does with like Lauren and
yeah,
Winston and where they're actually touring you through the house.
yeah.
And I know the pandemic had a little bit to do with that, where it was like, oh, well, I can't show you you can't come to the open house, but here I can walk you through like I'm with you.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to do that and showcase a home and yourself.
Totally. And I like initially I just didn't want to like bite on Lauren's idea and her, like we hang out often enough that I was like, oh God, is it gonna be like I'm copying her?
Weird. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that enough people now have done it that it's probably okay for me to do that. But yeah, I don't know.
And I bet you that, okay, well, first of all, you, well, I don't want to say you probably don't have the same clientele because I don't know if that's ever happened, but you probably don't. You at least have your people. She's got her people. But I also think that yours can be different somehow, or whatever the case may be. It'll be, Chandra, how she does it and how you show and list and all that good stuff. And so I think that it could just morph into something a little bit different. It might be a little bit the same, but a little bit different. I don't know. I think there's something there. It's something worth thinking about because I love watching, like I go down the rabbit hole on reels. I don't do them, but I watch them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll repost them,
Yeah.
and I bet you that your people would do that too. Maybe that's your jam is IGTV or reels or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I also go down the TikTok rabbit hole quite often.
Yeah.
But I'm like, is TikTok for the young people? Can I?
Hey, we're all young at heart. I mean, if you know TikTok, shoot, girl, do that.
I mean, yeah.
I can see you totally doing that and rocking it. Come on.
We'll see. We'll see. Right now, I'm lucky enough that I'm so busy that I haven't really had to think about marketing or like changing anything up. But I mean, that's coming, and I definitely want to make sure that, I'm having fun where there's fun to be had and marketing things in fun ways. So.
Well, not to be ageist, but you did say that you hired a couple young, realtors. So I'm sure that they are hip to the game of TikTok, and I'll let them do it,
Yeah.
They know what they're
No,
doing.
that's true. I actually, we've talked about that a couple of times. I'm like, technology is not always my jam, so I need your help. On some of that.
And they know what they're doing, so they don't have to like figure it out. And they're usually they just jump on it and do it. So
totally.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm done. Okay. That's next week. I'm getting Erica and Jolynn on TikTok.
My work here is done.
Thank you.
All right, Chandra, is there anything else that we missed that we wanted to talk about?
Not that I can think of. I mean, I could keep talking to you all day long.
I know. I miss you too. I'm like, I almost want to just randomly Zoom call people or something, but then everybody's tired of Zooms, It's like, I don't know. Every day it's something different, but it is good to see your face.
It's good to see your face too. And I can't wait until either we're all vaccinated or it's at least sunny enough that we can be outside.
Yeah. Portland during the pandemic, like people in, Florida and Texas and all these places where it's nice out. I'm like, you guys just don't understand. Like we've been in the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've tried to go outside. I have tried to be a trooper. I'm a Portlander. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. But the heater is only heating my head. Not the lower half of my body that is now numb because I wanted to have a glass of wine with a friend.
Totally.
So yeah, I think once the weather, but I know that I'm really excited to see what happens with real estate once things, safely open up and things start to happen. And I can't wait to see what you do and all the fun things. I love keeping up with you. I know you mentioned your Instagram, but say it one more time, where people can find you. And then if people have questions, I know you don't consider yourself an expert, but you've been through it, the HUD 184 loans. I think if somebody really wants to know about it and they want to reach out to you, give us your email or where you would prefer that somebody could just, shoot over a quick question or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Well, my Instagram, like I said, I have 3, but my main one is Portland House Hunter, and you can DM me on there. But my email is chandraashfordrealtor@gmail.com. And or Google me. I mean, I'm all
Google me.
Interwebs. So
not hard to find. You're a realtor. I always say that if a realtor is hard to find,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's been a few times in the past year where I like Googled somebody and I was like, wait, why do
Which
you have no internet presence? Like
right.
how are you a human in 2021 without an internet presence, let alone a realtor?
Realtor. Yeah, exactly. No. Everybody should Google themselves too. In fact, you know what? I should probably do that today and just double check, see what's going on over there.
Would you Google me too and tell me if there's anything weird?
Yeah,
Anyway,
I'll do that when I'm looking up your tiny house.
cool. Oh, cool.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to find that video and I'm putting it on the podcast
Oh,
links
oh my God. Okay.
because
Great.
everybody's going to be like, I want to see it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
sorry, not sorry.
I can't wait. It's been many years since I've seen that. So
That's awesome.
I
All
will
right,
enjoy
Chandra.
it and laugh.
Yes. Thank you for doing this with me. I know that it
Mm.
was scary and all that good stuff, but wasn't so bad, was it?
No, it wasn't so bad.
Super
It,
fun. Realtors should be podcasting. It's just another fun, great way of, getting information out to, because even when people Google, this is going to pop up too, right? But what a true way of getting to know someone. Also hearing your voice, you know what I'm saying? Like it's always social media and their pictures and images, but actually hearing what you sound like to talk and all that good stuff. It's just something soothing about it.
I'm super excited and I'm really flattered that you even wanted to talk with me. And yeah, I can't wait to hear the finished result.
Me
Um,
too. It'll
and
be
yeah, I'm open to podcasts now.
okay. All right. You're gonna have to tell me when your next one is. So if anybody
Okay.
wants Chandra on their podcast, you have her email. Just
Yeah,
invite her.
please.
All right, Chandra. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.